Namaste, my dear friends. Good evening, good afternoon, and good morning to people from all over the world. Welcome to session 3 of our NEURODHARMA webinar series. And we all know, we all been seeing what NEURODHARMA means. NEURODHARMA is looking at ancient wisdom through the lens of our nervous system, including our brain. How does all the spiritual teachings translate into what modern neuroscience is showing us, or modern neuroscience has discovered, is what we are seeing in this series. So we covered 2 parts in our journey towards NEURODHARMA, the wholeness. Number 1, we saw how steadiness, concentration, focus is necessary for any practice, necessary for a happy living. And what are the neural networks? What is the neuroscience behind that? We've seen that. And then in the last session, we saw warm-heartedness. Why is it essential for us to be showing loving kindness? Why is it essential for that sense of connection for us, for all of us to be happy, and how both of these also can be cultivated through a practice of meditation. Today, we're going to see another very fulfilling topic, very important topic. It's about fullness. It's about being content. And the role, we'll talk about the barriers to feeling fullness, the barriers to feeling contented, what to do about it. And we will end with a 15-minute practice, a guided meditation practice, practicing the best practices of fullness. All right, so let me start here. We all experience pain, and you all know Buddha's famous sayings, teachings. You can't escape pain. Pain is inevitable. So life includes unavoidable physical and emotional pain. But who adds suffering? Do we need to suffer? Suffering is optional. Pain is inevitable. Suffering is optional. How do we make suffering possible? Through replaying conversations again and again of someone told me something, something did not happen, some incidents, I did something a few years ago, so you have to do something, right? Catastrophizing, what will happen if something doesn't work out, imagining worst case scenarios, and always self-judgment as well as judging others constantly. All this causes us suffering, comparing and resenting, comparing something that someone has and something that we don't have. We fail to discover what we have, or fail to recognize what we have, but we always end up comparing and then resenting. Oh, someone went on a vacation last week and I couldn't go. Oh my God, why couldn't I go? Someone has a better house, someone has a better family, someone doesn't, someone's kids don't fight with them. So what is this unnecessary suffering that we are adding to our life every day? We recognize that. So Buddha, there is this famous anecdote that's attributed to Buddha. He talked about this as the first and second arrows, whereas most literature talks about it as first and second dart. It's a very, very important analogy. What Buddha says is there is this first arrow or a first dart that comes to us as pain. Could be physical discomfort, could be a disappointment, could be a loss, could be some remark that someone made, right? Or some life's inevitable change like aging, like some sickness, right? There is that first arrow that comes up. What Buddha says is the first arrow is not as painful, right? But what is painful, what causes suffering is the second arrow, which we inflict upon ourselves. Our reaction to the first arrow or the first dart. What do we face? We face it with anger, blame, rumination. Why me? Suddenly, someone in a meeting at office remarks about your presentation, let us say. His or her remark is the first arrow, but what you feel inside is the second arrow or the second dart, right? And the example in the slide talks about some common thing that all of us go through, and I'm guilty of that a lot of times. Stubbing your toe on a table. How many times we have hit ourselves against the edge of a table or the edge of a stand, right? And then scream in pain or silently try to bear the pain, pressing one toe with another, with your another leg, right? So the pain ends there, but what happens is the anger that we get, the shouting that we do, right? Or sometimes we kick the table, oh my God, and retaliate in that anger, right? Or someone else could be adding that second dart in terms of, oh my God, how many times should I tell you, walk mindfully, be aware of your walking? You always get hit in one place or the other. Some remark that comes up, that again adds up to our suffering. So it's not the first dart that causes us suffering. First dart causes us pain. But if you are mindful of that first dart and respond instead of reacting, then we avoid the suffering inflicted by the second dart. Like Buddha's insight, we cannot avoid the first dart, but we can stop throwing the second dart at ourselves. Most of our suffering comes from the second dart, not the first dart. Remember, as you go through the day, as you go through the days, anytime you feel something painful, you think about what is it? Is it the first dart or the second dart that's giving you pain? So what is the source of add-on suffering? Why do we suffer? What is this suffering? And Buddha clearly illustrated, right? The cause of suffering is craving. Cause of suffering is craving, tanha. What does tanha mean? What does craving mean? It means in Pali language, thirst. When do we become thirsty? When we lack something. So thirst has that visceral sense of lack. When you're feeling a sense of lack, that results in craving. You want something to kind of get rid of that lack. And craving to be right. I keep mentioning this. We all have this sickness, this widespread pandemic that's happening out there. Everyone wants to be right. The pandemic of wanting to be right, getting attached to our viewpoints, right? And then we fight. There are wars being fought. There is internal conflict that's happening. There is family conflict that happens. There is organizational conflict that happens. Just because some people say what they say is right, other people also say that is right. Wanting to be right is a source of suffering. Having goals that are not worthy in the place, but spending so much time and energy in trying to achieve that goal. Grievances, holding on to resentments and others. Oh, I did that something to somebody else, but he's not repaid me. He doesn't even care to call me. Chasing and avoiding, chasing that wonderful job, chasing that wonderful foreign trip, right? And then running away from pain. Oh, I don't want to hear that I have this sickness. I don't want to feel someone just told me I have this sickness. Could be diabetes, could be hypertension, could be cancer, whatever. Why does this come to me? Clinging, holding tight to relationships and identities. I am an executive at a company. I am the head of this house, right? Clinging to roles and approval, trying to impress or gain validation. All these are because of all these add to our suffering because they all result in trying to satisfy a lack that we have. Something feels missing, craving arises, suffering follows. We will look at it with a few examples as well. Because we create suffering, the good news is because we create suffering, we can also end it. That's the good news. And what are the three sources of craving? We'll talk about suffering in a minute. Three sources of craving. Number one is social factors, anything to do with people. insecure attachment patterns, feelings of inadequacy, misjudging the other people, loneliness, envy, resentment. It's anything to do with people. So that causes a sense of craving, right? You are being isolated, but you want to be included. That's a sense of craving. You are feeling inadequate. How do you feel? How do you feel? Get out of feeling inadequate by someone recognizing you. Oh, you are doing a good job, right? And then there are visceral factors. Visceral is nothing but anything to do with your feeling, your inside feeling. That is also because something's missing, something's wrong. That results in craving for something else. Initially, we start off craving for that wonderful job, for wonderful life, wonderful wife, wonderful bungalow, wonderful car, right? But then we discover having all those also, if you're not able to kind of feel satisfied, then something is wrong here. Something is wrong inside. And then we turn inward. We'll talk more about the visceral factors of craving. How do we get out of it? And the third factor, the third source of craving is cognitive. Thinking the job that I have is permanent. Thinking the position that I have is permanent. Or thinking that relationship that I have is permanent. So we do everything. We do all the things that are needed to make sure that permanent thing stays permanent within quotes to us. So thinking things are lasting when things are changing. Buddha says, right, everything is impermanent. That's what we talk about, right from our breath. No two breaths are the same. No relationship stays the same from the beginning till the end. No job stays the same. Every time, once we are in that wonderful job, the first few years are wonderful. But then something else, you feel a sense of lack, right? So cognitive is anything to do with thinking. Thinking something is going to be permanent and getting attached to it, and then realizing it is not permanent, realizing it's temporary, that causes suffering. So three sources of craving: social, visceral, and cognitive. And there are certain practices to address some of this craving. For the social factors, the practice of compassion, kindness. We did that practice in the last session. Compassion, kindness, and happiness for others. When you feel compassion, kindness, and happiness for others, then the craving for inclusion, craving of avoiding being isolated gets over. Similarly, we'll practice fullness. Any lack of something means you are feeling a lack of something. How do we develop fullness? How do we develop the inner strength for meeting needs? We'll look at it. And the third thing, recognizing that comes through spiritual practice, that comes through practice of meditation or wisdom. Recognizing something is impermanent. I think don't worry about it. Yeah, this job, today I am happy with my job. Tomorrow I don't know what will happen. Then if I'm not happy, I'll get a better job somewhere else, right? So having that confidence, recognizing the impermanence, emptiness, and non-self is the solution to craving that arises of cognitive factors. Each source requires different practices. And we look at those. But what are the root causes for craving? Dr. Rick Hansen in his book NEURODHARMA talks about these three and is also very similar to what most psychologists talk about. Right? Roots of craving are basic needs. So there are three basic needs that result in craving. Number one, safety. Number two, satisfaction. Number three, connection. When you feel you're not safe, that arises from the reptilian brain, the hind brain that we say. That is the reptilian brain that developed millions of years ago, 200 plus millions of years ago. And its whole objective is to keep you safe from danger. So anything to do with physical, emotional security or safety results in craving from safety, right? So for example, you crave for that house, you crave for food, you crave for that recognition. That is because that's when you feel that safe, right? That is safety. The second root cause of craving is satisfaction, right? So accomplishment. We need that self-esteem. So satisfaction, getting rewards and achieving goals, experiencing pleasure and accomplishment, feeling fulfilled. If you are lacking any of those, then there is a craving that happens from there. Approach rewards. So the source system is approaching rewards. You pursue opportunities. That is because of the mammalian subcortex. That's the subconscious brain or the emotional brain. And the third one is the neocortex, which is the upper part of our brain, developed mostly in humans, that longs for bonding, that longs for belonging, that longs to be understood. That is why this whole family system has come in place, right? Understood and valued, love and intimacy. This craving comes when you are denied that belonging, when you are denied being part of a group, when you are denied feeling isolated from a particular family or a group. So every one of us have these needs of safety, satisfaction, and connection. We need to look for those, not outside, but inside. That is what all spiritual science talks about, right? So we need to look for those, safety, satisfaction, and connection. And when we do not have any of those, when we lack safety, then there is a craving for something that we need. So obviously that is why they say, right, food, shelter, and relationship are kind of the basic needs of any human. The moment anything that endangers those needs results in craving, results in desires that you go after. Similarly, craving for self-respect. When you lack self-respect, when you lack recognition, you go after that. And similarly, when you lack connection, you go after building relationships. You need people. So that's one of the big causes of stress. When you don't feel connected to people, it's a big cause for stress, and that's one of the important reasons for happiness as well. So how do we meet those needs? There are two modes. One is the red zone, which is reactive mode. The second is the green zone, which is the responsive mode. The red zone activates our parasympathetic nervous system. It's like any stress response. I don't have that need immediately. I don't have that need answered. Then immediately I go into the red zone, which causes me disturbance. Brain triggers stress response. It's fight, flight, or freeze activate. That's when you shout. That's when you scream in anger. That's when you feel bad. All these have an impact on your nervous system. The more you impact your nervous system, it ultimately results in sickness and disease. The alternate way, or the wiser way, is being in responsive mode, green zone, right? You feel there is a sense of, you feel you have all the resources to handle that craving. So let's assume you are in a meeting and the meeting is boring. That is when, or the work that you are doing is not very engaging. That is when you feel a sense of wanting to have that coffee. You want to get up from the meeting, have that coffee. Then your body starts craving for some change. Either you want to go and talk to that other person, or you want to go have that coffee break, right? Or you just want to go out for a break, right? So why does the craving happen? Because the need for, it's not about safety. You're probably in a conference room and all that, but it's a need for satisfaction. You're not getting satisfied by what is happening in that particular room. So immediately you feel, or you're probably not satisfied or fully engaged by what you do. Immediately that sense of craving comes, oh, let me go have that coffee and come, right? But if for some reason the break gets delayed, you are on a call that you're not able to get out of, you are on video and you're not able to step out for a coffee, right? What happens? The body gets into stress response. Your craving starts impacting your nervous system, right? Your fight or freeze. And that is in that moment, if you need to respond or answer, your answer will not be optimal. You will start responding with anger, right? Whereas if you feel fulfilled, if you are completely engaged in a conversation, you're completely engaged in work, then you wouldn't even care about that coffee break, right? You want to finish this and then move on with something, right? So that means when you're fully engaged, when you're fully satisfied, your need for satisfaction is fulfilled, then you don't have that craving for you to do something else. That's a responsive mode. So it's not about whether needs are challenged. Needs will always get challenged. The meetings get longer. Someone will start remarking something, right? But so the needs will always be there for safety, um, satisfaction, and connection, right? But in the absence of those, how you fulfill those? Are you fulfilling it with something external, which is temporary, or are you fulfilling with something that comes from you? Is what matters between fullness and emptiness or a lack of fullness. So the reactive zone, what happens in the reactive, this is a neuroscience of reactive zone. The amygdala, the part of the brain signals alarm, your sympathetic nervous system activates. This is typical fight or flight response. Your stress hormones flood your body, your heart rate increases, muscle tenses, and your immune system shuts down. So if you keep on doing things that you don't like, every time you keep on doing things that you don't like, you're getting to situations that you don't like, your stress response activates more than the other person, you are getting impacted because of your stress response, releasing all the harmful hormones. What happens in your mind? Fear, frustration, hurt, anger, attention narrows when you're doing something, when you have that long meeting that's boring, or you are doing something that doesn't fulfill you, then attention narrows, scatters, you can't think clearly, emotional reactivity increases. So red zone depletes resources, and then you see greater deficit, more reactivity. At some point, you'll say, I can't do it. I am done. Whereas when you are in a responsive green zone, that is your relaxation response. You feel fulfilled. You feel happy, right? Your parasympathetic nervous, rest and digest system gets activated. Your body feels protected. There is a general feeling of peace and contentment in your mind. Challenges don't invade you, irrespective of whatever is the challenge. You are okay to bear that, right? And emotional balance gets maintained. So this is the responsive mode, or the green zone, is where we all need to be working off. This is our biological home base. This is where when we are contented, when we are in contentment, when you are fully satisfied, when you are in that contentment, anything that you aspire or want to do from that particular state, you can pursue effortlessly with less pain, less suffering, as we saw, right? But when you are in a reactive mode, you can still achieve that, but with a lot more effort. That is what we say with meditation and spiritual practices. You feel a lot more fulfilled, you understand the wisdom, and with that particular level of consciousness or level of awareness, when you try to achieve things, achieving that will be a lot easier. And that is something several of us have realized. All right. So let me give you one more example here. So let us say there is a gentleman named Ramesh, who is in a meeting presenting, right? And then he's meeting presenting, and then there is, during the meeting, someone passes a remark that what he's presenting is wrong, or some issue with the slide that he's presenting, right? If he's in a reactive zone, what happens? He will feel hurt because that satisfaction that he's getting from presenting is suddenly being interrupted by something, right? And then he will feel frustrated. Oh my God, why is he interrupting? Why is he told? From that point onwards, his mind is feel scattered. His presentation will not go well. He will probably do a lot more mistakes. He'll probably internally keep blaming himself, irrespective of whatever show he's putting up. And after the meeting, he will feel very bad about it, right? Whereas that is because he's looking for satisfaction from a recognition that's coming from outside, or for someone saying that, oh, you did a wonderful presentation. Whereas if that person is already feeling content, already feeling fulfilled, he's already being recognized in his family, he's already having enough love with his friends, he's already feeling connected, already feeling satisfied with the work that he's doing. What happens? That particular remark may not hit him as much. There is no second arrow because he's already fulfilled, he's already feeling content. He's not seeking recognition from the other person. So the remark comes and a remark and says, oh yeah, okay, I probably made a mistake, sorry about it, and then he'll move on. So that's responding from a green zone, responding from a real responsive mode. So how do we do that? How do we move from red zone to green zone? How do we move from a sense of lack to a sense of fulfillment, sense of being fulfilled? And this is where the science talks about how do you grow your inner resources. You're not going to look at that coffee or that cigarette or that conversation for you to fulfill you or satisfy your craving, right? So you are going to satisfy that craving or stop the craving from arising, because when you are when you are filled up. So anytime, for example, very, very simple, when you are full after a meal, you wouldn't crave for something, right? You say, I'm full, I'm good enough, and you're mindful of that, right? But when you are lacking something, when you say, for example, I don't have that sweet, I still need that sweet for me to finish my meal, or some specific dish, then you will keep wanting that. So when you are full, you don't look for that, the craving doesn't arise. But when you are not full, when you don't feel full, the craving arises. So how do you solve the craving? By feeling a lot more fuller, like lot more wholesome, right? So there's a practical framework that the author recommends for developing the inner strengths. First, you look at what is the need that is being challenged. Is the need safety? If you are afraid, if you are fear, if you are anxious about the future, anxious about what is happening right now, that means the need is safety. How do you address safety? Number two, if that need is satisfaction, if you're not being fulfilled enough, if you're not being satisfied enough, that results in frustration and disappointment. Are you having frustration? Are you feeling disappointment? Then it is a question of feeling unsatisfied. Similarly, when you feel lonely, when you're feeling hurt, when you're feeling isolated, when you're feeling depressed, it's all about lacking that connection. You have a need for inbuilt connection. And number two, once you identify what need is being challenged, next you focus on what are the internal qualities that you need to develop, not the external fixes. For example, if you are being challenged with safety, you need to develop calmness. You need to develop calm strength, not just about feeling better. Similarly, when you're lacking satisfaction, you need to you need to look at what are the things you already have, feel content, pay gratitude to that, right? Oh my God, I have a wonderful family, right? So I'm fully content with family. I'm fully content with my talent. I'm fully content with my relationships, right? Or I'm fully abundant. I'm fully content with my money, status, and power that I have. So you recollect what you have and then feel that fullness. Then the lack of satisfaction dies away. And same thing you do with connection. How do you experience this resource? So you identify what need is challenged, you identify what is the resource. I'll talk about some of these, what inner resource that you need to be helping you. And then the third one is how do you experience this resource? We'll practice that, and how do you take it in? So there are two things. You have to experience being grateful, and you have to spend some time being grateful for the craving of satisfaction to go away. So what are the resources that we are going to practice? For safety, it's peace. You need to feel at peace. How are we going to practice peace? We're going to be relaxing and easing into the body. We are going to feel the peacefulness of the body, relaxing the body, right? Feeling protected and supported. Similarly, for satisfaction, you feel content. How do you feel content? You are thankful. The moment you are thankful for something, that means you are developing that resource for contentment. Gladness and positive emotions. You're happy. You're feeling satisfied. You're feeling grateful, right? Healthy pleasure. I had a wonderful time with someone. I had a wonderful time at the movie, right? So whatever you feel a sense of gratitude, you're feeling a sense of happiness. You generate that feeling of happiness from within. The third one is about connection. How do you feel connected? About loving kindness. You feel included, you feel valued, right? If connection is not happening at some particular some particular place, you feel connected from somewhere else, right? You recollect memories of childhood where you are happily laughing and playing with your seventh grade or sixth grade friends. That results in a sense of that triggers those parts of the brain that are related to connection. Then the craving for connection goes away, right? So love works for all three needs. Love for your body, which is peace, love for your emotions, feeling contented, right? And then the love for connection, love for people, which will kind of translate into developing the resource for connection. See, when I say a risk, when I talk about resource, it's as good as, for example, it's as good as an external resource called money, right? If you don't have money to spend, you'll have to go earn money, right? The moment you have enough money, then you are ready to spend. So similarly, we are developing this inner money, just like money is an external resource, we're developing peace, contentment, and love as inner resources, inner mindful resources, which you can use at any point of time. How do you use it? Is when there is this mechanism of two-step process. First, you activate that memory. You trigger what you want to experience. Do you want to experience peace? You want to experience contentment or gratitude? You want to experience connection? And then you install it in your brain, install it in your nervous system. How do you install it in your nervous system? You kind of be with that experience for a few minutes. So experience what you want to develop, notice the beneficial experiences. For example, recall feeling calm. You may not be calm right now because of some incident, but the way to handle is you recall feeling calm early in the morning, or recall feeling calm in a different similar situation but on a different occasion, right? Imagine being valued. Someone has recognized you. It could be a memory. You bring it back to a memory, you activate it, and then you be with that feeling. What happened in your body when that particular incident occurred, right? You felt a sense of peace. You felt a sense of calmness, joy in your heart. You felt a sense of relaxation in your body. So you feel all that and be with that feeling for a few minutes. That is how you install that particular resource. So the brain, the neuroplasticity works that way. It doesn't care, the brain, all of you know, the brain doesn't care whether some situation is occurring in real time or you're imagining, right? A lot of research by Joe Dispenza and others talk about it, right? Just by imagining, the brain doesn't know something is happening in real time. So just by imagining an incident, a good incident, generating that feelings automatically causes changes in your brain, in your nervous system. The more you are with it, that change happens for good, for a longer time. Next time when you are in that particular situation, you will not have that suffering, you will not have that craving for that recognition, you will not have that craving for coffee, right? So that is how craving minimizes. And long-term practitioners of meditation will know, as you continue your practice of meditation, slowly cravings start disappear. When I say cravings start disappear, it is not that you're losing the joy of life. In fact, a lot of people say if you don't crave, if you don't have that need for something, how do you enjoy life? But when the craving disappears, when craving happens, you enjoy out of need, out of necessity. The joy is temporary. But when craving goes away and you enjoy that cup of coffee that someone has given you when you do not really need it, you'll be able to enjoy that lot more with lot more fuller, a lot more gratitude, a lot more fullness, right? And in the first session, we saw how brain always looks for negative experiences. Negative experiences stick to us like a Velcro, whereas good experiences fall off like Teflon, right? And then our goal with spiritual practice and meditation is reverse this whole thing. Make sure we are not affected by negative experiences, no more than what it should, not deeper, but stick on to positive experiences. With this recommended process, this is what we are doing. We are recollecting positive experiences, trying to make the positive experiences stick by being with that experience for some time. So neurons that fire together wire together. Every good experience generates good neurochemicals, dopamine, serotonin, oxytocin. We saw last session, right? Oxytocin is the bonding hormone, right? And the more your brain is in that mode, it generates that oxytocin hormone. More oxytocin generates, your brain knows in this particular situation, I need to generate it, right? That is the whole idea. So someone who's been angry for the first 30 years of their life, there's no reason why they need to continue to be angry. But what is needed is a mindful change, mindful decision to be better, to be thinking about those good things, thinking about those nice things that get rid of anger and institutionalizing that in our nervous system. So feeling already full is the antidote for craving. And we're going to practice this. The practice is called peace, contentment, and love. We're going to practice peace for some time. We're going to talk about a gratitude exercise. I'll ask you to remember a couple of things for which you want to feel grateful. And last, love, I'll ask you to recollect a couple of people to whom you feel kind, or someone who has shown you kindness. So peace, the peace of the body signals safety. That means your reptilian brain will calm down. It will not get activated. Similarly, contentment, feeling grateful for something, means you are satisfied. So immediately this mammalian brain will sit silently. And then when you are feeling connected, when you're sending those loving kindness to others, then your neocortex, the feeling for connection is only in humans, right? That's a beauty of being a human, right? So that whole sense of love happens, right? Underlying felt of sense of sufficiency. That is the result, one breath at a time. So what happens when you feel full? What happens when you feel contented? This is what success looks like. Immediate benefits: less stress in your body, more resilient. I mean, nobody can make you angry, right? And we keep talking about it. People who go off from long retreats, long meditation retreats, or long meditations for a few days, they are in that zone where they feel full, where they feel peaceful, they don't feel irritated, they don't feel disturbed, right? After a while, things catch up, but the longer you practice, continuous practice of meditation will allow you to be in that zone for a long time. You bounce back faster. Someone passed a remark, oh, okay. So probably someone passed a remark, you feel bad. First thing is you may not feel bad, or sometimes you feel bad, but you bounce back, right? And then there are deeper changes that happen: decreased craving naturally. Well-being is less dependent on external factors. Your well-being is in your hands or in your mind, rather than on external factors or food or whatever. And then the third one is relationships improve. You become less defensive, you become less reactive, you have more patience and understanding, right? Authentic generosity flows naturally. So as your green zone strengthens, your practice becomes easier. You get deeper into green zone and becomes the default state. This is how this whole thing can be ingrained in our nervous system or our brain. The important point: the absence of craving doesn't mean absence of grit, absence of instinct, absence of intention, right? You can still be ambitious, you can still be driven, you can still want that accomplishment, but all that will happen from peace, not from pressure, from contentment, not from craving. So success comes from sufficiency. As they say, what you attract, what you feel is what you attract. You feel content, there will be a lot more situations that bring you a lot more satisfaction and contentment. If you feel a sense of lack, there will be always problems allowing you to feel that sense or continue to feel a sense of lack or scarcity. All right, so the common pitfalls to avoid is basically when we practice this whole thing about installation and institutionalizing that feeling, you shouldn't move quickly, right? We will practice that. You'll have to be with that feeling for a few minutes. Only then the brain changes happen. And avoiding staying in the red zone and ignoring which need is challenge. You need to understand what need. Is it safety? Is it satisfaction? Or is it connection? Right? And accordingly use the tool of being peaceful inside the body, or feeling grateful, or feeling connected, right? And all that it takes is that mindfulness, that whole thing about being aware, being mindful. All right, and this is what the peace, contentment, love practice we're going to follow, my dear friends, now. So first few minutes, we will feel the sense of peace, relaxation, the anchoring that we practice in first session to be felt in our body. You'll feel a sense of peace and relaxation in your body. Next, I'll ask you to remember a few things for which you feel grateful. You recollect those things, feel grateful from the bottom of your heart. You have to feel that feeling for a few minutes. not just verbally, not just cognitively say thank you, but you have to feel. Anytime, the last time you felt deeply grateful, you can recollect that and do that. And the third one is you bring into mind a person who deeply cared for you. You're moved by by his or her kindness, or by you feeling somewhere you felt very caring to your friend, to your daughter, to your son, to your parent, to your spouse, right? And you feel that sense, whatever. So you basically remember, be with that memory and feeling for some time, and then you move to the next stage of the practice. All right. Okay, so before we dive in, I think I've spoken about the neuroscience behind this practice. So as I said, contentment and peace activate your parasympathetic nervous system, and that also means flooding your body with the right neurochemicals that also ease physical pain, and it also relax your nervous system, and your prefrontal cortex, this part out here, strengthens. And similarly, love and connection increases oxytocin. I just mentioned that. Oxytocin calms the subconscious mind or your amygdala or your emotional brain, reduces anxiety, and strengthens social bonding circuits. Repeated practice of this strengthens the circuits. It kind of get institutionalized in your body. All right. So with that, let's dive into this whole practice of meditation, my dear friends. For those of you who are new, let me just quickly talk about the practice here. So you just close your eyes, clasp your hands like this, close your eyes, cross your feet at your ankle, just sit in an upright position, either on your chair, or you can sit with your legs folded in a lotus position on a pillow or a cushion, and just follow my instructions. All right. I'm just going to do it without music, and I'll guide you through the instructions. All right. Feel comfortable. Relax your body. Clasp your fingers. Cross your feet at your ankle. Close your eyes. Feel your seat. Feel your stable, comfortable posture. Take 3 deep inhale and exhales. Feel your stomach coming out as you inhale, and feel your stomach going in as you exhale. Allow yourself to settle. Feel the ground beneath you. Be aware of the location you are in, the room that you are in. Feel the space around you. Begin by noticing that right now, in this moment, you're absolutely okay. You are safe. There is enough air to breathe. You are breathing. Your heart is beating. Life is sustaining you. You're in a comfortable, stable position. Relaxed head, relaxed shoulders, relaxed hands, relaxed hips, relaxed legs, relaxed back. Completely feel safe. Feel the space inside you. Feel the space outside you. Release all tension. With each exhale, let go of worry, let go of things to do. With each inhale, breathe in peace. Just 10 more minutes. Tell your mind not to disturb you for next 10 minutes. Feel your body functioning absolutely right at this moment. Feel a sense of peace within you. Spread the sense of peace throughout your body. Your body is relaxed. It's already resting and peaceful. Continue to be with your breath. Observe your breath at your stomach region. As you breathe in, your stomach goes out. As you breathe out, your stomach goes in. Just feel the movements. Nothing else. All thoughts, all tasks, all worries can wait for the next 10 minutes. Just observe how smoothly your breath is flowing. Feel the automatic way your stomach goes up and down. Do not change your breathing. Just observe what is happening as you breathe normally. Feel the peace. Anytime your safety is challenged, this is the peace that you need to get into and cultivate. You have to tell your mind you are safe. Tell your brain you are safe. Next, slowly bring to mind two things you feel grateful for. Could be a person, could be a place, could be a situation, could be a thing. Recollect that particular place, situation, thing, or person, and bring out the feeling of gratitude in your heart. Feel grateful. Send out loving gratitude to that particular place, thing, situation, or person. Be with the feeling of thankfulness. Be with that feeling of gratitude. Experience the feeling in your heart. And as you cultivate the feeling, allow the feeling to spread through all parts of your body. We are installing the changes to our brain that come about with the feeling of gratitude. That installation happens only when you are with the feeling for a few minutes. You can recollect more incidents or things that you are grateful for. Gratitude is the antidote to craving caused by not feeling satisfied. You're expressing gratitude because there is satisfaction in some areas. As your brain and nervous system gets wired for gratitude, you'll feel that sense of gratitude in a lot of other situations as well. Notice the warmth, the softness, the ease that comes with thankfulness. This is enough. Right now is enough. You don't need anything more in this moment to feel at peace. Let go of all sense of lack. Feel grateful. Feel grateful to the people around you. Continue to breathe in and breathe out normally from your heart region. Now to the last part of our practice. While being at your heart region, while breathing in and out softly and naturally through your heart region, now bring to your mind a person who has deeply cared for you, who's moved by his or her care. Could be the same person you are thankful for, or could be a different person. Or you could feel a situation where you were loving and caring for someone genuinely. Recall that incident. Kindle the feeling of love and kindness in your heart. Stay with it and allow it to flow or spread throughout your body. Receive the care, receive the appreciation, receive the love that someone is giving you. Breathing in, feel cared about, valued, loved. Let yourself feel your own caring, your compassion, and your love for others or for them. Breathing out, offer care, kindness, and love. Continue this rhythm for 2 minutes. Love flowing in as you breathe in, love flowing out as you breathe out from your heart. Receiving and giving, loved and loving. Don't do it through your brain. Feel it through your heart. Now feel all three together. Peace in your body, feeling safe, calm, at ease. feeling contentment in your being, grateful, satisfied enough, feeling love in your heart, flowing in and flowing out. Rest in this fullness, this completeness, this enoughness. Nothing is missing. Nothing needs to be different. You're already full. You're already enough. Wonderful. Knowing that you can return to this fullness anytime through this practice of peace, contentment, and love. Pay gratitude to your experience the last 15 minutes. Feel your body. Feel your surroundings. Say thank you to yourself. Slowly keep your hands on your eyes for a few seconds and you can gently open your eyes. So that is what fullness means. That's what contentment means. Contentment at the level of a body, peace, mind, satisfaction, at the level of relationships or soul, the connection is about relationships, about feeling grateful, feeling loving kindness to someone. Right? This is a practice that you can follow anytime or combine it with your meditation practice every day. When you are feeling enough, there's nothing more that you need. And paradoxically, that is the time when you start receiving abundance, when you start receiving more. So with that, my dear friends, the third key to happiness, the third key to being in wholeness is contentment, being full.